Hey everyone, welcome to the Pickleball Effect podcast. This is episode 42. I'm Braydon.
And I'm Kyle.
Everyone's freaking out about co-hosts lately.
What about him?
That there's this big joke about Chris and Will on who's the co.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
It's been running for a few weeks now, and people are just loving it.
So Chris is the co-host to Will, right?
Something like that. Yeah. I guess technically, would I be the host and you're the co-host?
You're the host. I'm the co-host.
And then you keep getting hit up from people thinking that like you work for Pickleball Effect, but it's your own thing. We've established this a couple of times.
Yeah. I'm having like a brand identity crisis 3 times this week by brands and people. They're like, you're that Pickleball Effect guy. Oh, I love your YouTube channel. And I'm like, I am not Braydon. Like,
you love the podcast that you're in.
Yeah. Well, they are referring to the podcast usually, but it's like, I have to like tell them like, I'm Dink Smash. He's Pickleball Effect. We do the podcast together. I guess I can understand how it's confusing if people follow just the podcast, but
yeah, it can be tricky. And if I'm being real, I once thought Chris and Will were the same thing.
Oh, okay.
So
it's common.
It's not totally uncommon.
I know even in the Discord, and like I never say anything. People are like, you gotta support Cupcake and Braid and use like PB10, like Effect 10, and I'm like, yes, use it.
Oh, that's great. But yeah, he does have his own thing going. Dink Smash Media. Have you? I know you were thinking about starting a YouTube channel. You're pretty active on your Instagram with sharing news, opinions, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Instagram's growing pretty quickly right now, so I'm just gonna focus on that for now. I don't need to.
And you did some short form, thoughts on gear and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And I stay super active in the Discord. People tag me for my thoughts on stuff all the time. So.
Yeah, dude, I see you chatting constantly. Discord.
It's almost like another job that I'm just not getting paid for, but
yeah, go follow Kyle on Dink Smash Media on his Instagram. Super active there. He'll keep you up to date on everything, both controversial and just interesting.
Yeah,
there's plenty of that out there right now.
Lots of that.
Yeah. Yeah. No hat today. Hair's looking sharp.
No hat today. Yeah. Too many sweaty hats. I don't want to get yelled at in the comments. And I just want to prove that I have hair. Yeah.
Kyle has hair.
No.
Yeah. I always wear hats, dude. Like, especially when my hair gets like semi-longish. Mm-hmm. I just don't want to deal with it.
No,
exactly. Just wear a hat.
Yep. Unless I have a fresh haircut, I basically wear a hat.
I've never grown my hair out before. I've always wanted to. What's the longest you've ever had your hair?
So I'll have to show you my senior picture from high school eventually. But
Shoulders. Dude.
Yes. I had it was like long and greasy, and I was a skateboarder, like torn up jeans.
Oh, that's what I want for myself.
Yeah, so
I want your senior year hair on my head.
It looks like I went to school in the 70s, even though I graduated in 2007. It's just like this long hair, and it's like
dude, just
parted in the middle.
Just post a picture of it right here.
Okay, I'll put it on the pod for people to laugh.
Amazing. Dude, we didn't record an episode last week. We've both been traveling a ton. I was at the Proton event last weekend. I got home Tuesday. And then I was home for a day, and then I went and visited family in Utah for the rest of the week. Just got home today, actually. And then where have you been?
So I was at the Oregon coast for about a week, and then came home, had a wedding, 2 birthdays, a circus, just busy. Like no pickleball. And I got a few messages from a company. It's like, oh, did you swing the paddle yet? I'm like, I have so much to catch up on. I'm so sorry. I have not.
Yeah. And no, I feel you. Like when you're traveling and you're trying to test a paddle, because you only play, 3-4 times a week, maybe like 4 on a good week.
Yep.
And you can only test so many paddles. When you get back to our Friday testing, we were doing that for a bit, and then we stopped. We need to get back into that groove. But you have a bullet point here that says Kyle's identity crisis.
Yeah, we kind of already talked about it. It's just, so I got confused as you 3 times this week, and then once as Doug. Bread and butter.
Wait. Someone thought you were Doug?
Yes.
Wait,
so somebody tagged me in Discord and was like, hey, did you do this? And I can't remember what they asked if I did. And I think it was like give away a paddle or something. And I was like, question mark. And they're like, you're the bread and butter guy, right? And I'm like, no. Like, are you talking about Doug? And somebody's like, yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm not Doug. It was super random.
You do support bread and butter.
No, I know.
And you are on the Pickleball Effect podcast. So people are close.
Exactly. So
there's not quite on it.
I got to stop wearing bread and butter shirts.
What do you want people to call you?
Kyle? Cupcake?
Kyler Cupcake is what he's accepting his names.
And then, that's bringing up Cupcake. Brian, building Pickleball, comes out with a sweet shirt with a cupcake on it.
It should be your shirt.
He sold out of my size.
No.
I messaged him and I was like, hey, let me get one in this size. He's like, dude, I'm sold out. I'm like, what?
I think he did like a super small
It
run
must
of
have
50.
been super limited. Yeah.
And he's I think he's cooler than he realizes, and people want his stuff. And
Yeah.
the design was sweet.
No, it was sweet.
Yeah, it was
Still
cool.
like shake and bake, and I
It
liked
was a
it.
fun one. All right, dude. Let's talk about the Proton event and answer the question if Proton is for real. I think that's a question I have, and others might be wondering. And then you have some stuff in Kyle's corner. And then you have a couple other questions I want to get into around Twistweight and the J2K for finish off for Paddle Babble. So let's talk Proton. Is Proton for real? So I flew in Sunday on Father's Day. Then we had dinner with everybody that night. So we met. So Charles is the guy who owns Proton. They've been doing bats for a long time, softball bats, had some success there. And so they have a handful of employees that live and work out of the Phoenix area. Their headquarters is in Scottsdale. And then so they had all their pros, and they have a lot of pros.
Yeah,
and they're all really cool. So they have like Daescu, Rettenmeyer, Caitlin Christensen, Dazan, the Walker sisters, Teone. I'm sure they're Donald Young, Klinger. They have a ton of them.
A lot of them.
Yeah, and they're all really good players, and so they're definitely making a big push here. And so they invite everyone out to this event. And so we meet Sunday night, and we do dinner. It was fun, and then Monday morning we started early at 9 a.m. We got together. Charles kind of did a little speech about what they got going on, and I thought they were pitching this event as like a launch party for their new Series 4. So they have three series right now, 1, 2, and 3. Series 1 is the one that Daescu is kind of popularized, like single-handedly popularized with him winning everything using their Series 1, and that has that like
nanotech.
It's not like a typical grit texture.
Yeah.
And then their Series 2 is like a Lux without a hole in it. And then their Series 3 is kind of
raw carbon
a raw carbon fiber design. And then they're coming out with their Series 4, which is an edgeless Kevlar. He had like 2 or 3 prototypes there. And I think he was expecting a shipment for the Series 4 to be there in time for the event, but didn't get there. So we didn't really talk about the Series 4.
Is that the Roadrunner that we were seeing on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it was kind of funny that they're like pitching this as the Series 4. Like nobody walked home with the Series 4. And anyways, but it ended up just kind of being like, this is Proton. We're here to play. This is our philosophy. This is why we think we're different. And so the basis of Proton's pitch is durability. They're claiming extended durability from by using better carbon fiber, and then the nanotech is supposed to be longer lasting spin. And so Charles, he's one of these guys that like, he reminds me a lot of my dad. My dad is a salesman, just talks big vision, just everything's best, perfect. We dominate. And I don't personally resonate with that messaging. I think just because my dad is like been like that my whole life.
Okay.
And I'm like,
see through it a little bit.
I'm like seeing through it a little bit. I'm like, I know you're making these big claims, but I feel like I need to go do a lot of fact checking. And it's hard to just take his word for his word. I don't think he's dishonest or anything. He just talks big, and he just is a salesman, and he pitches it. And so a couple of the claims he made about Proton in general is, one, their carbon fiber is better than anybody else's out there. It's going to last longer as part of the secret sauce of their durability of why their paddles last longer. And then he claims that T700 carbon fiber, which is a carbon fiber we see referenced everywhere,
on every paddle,
right?
Yeah.
So he says that the T means Toray, and that Toray carbon fiber, that Toray carbon fiber cannot be brought into China, and therefore all these T700 claims are false. Yep. And so I did some research on that, and T700. So he claimed that the T stood for Toray for when you see T700. So that's not true from what I gathered, T700 is like a classification that Toray came up with.
Okay.
So Toray has like, a catalog of different carbon fibers that they sell. T700 is one of their like catalog items that they kind of like design themselves. And so there's Toray T700, which is the T700 carbon fiber that Toray makes. Okay. But it is possible that other carbon fiber manufacturers are making a T700 type carbon fiber, and they can call it T700 because it's a classification that Toray came up with and originated, but it doesn't necessarily mean that because someone is using T700 that it's not a T700 classified or type of carbon fiber. Now, because someone says they're using T700 does not mean they're using Toray, but it doesn't necessarily mean that their carbon fiber sucks.
Exactly.
And I also did some research on the claim that Toray cannot be used in Chinese manufacturing facilities, and I couldn't find anything to support that. And so if there is anybody that knows more about this subject than me, from what I could find, I could not find anything that said Chinese manufacturers cannot use Toray. And so there are brands that claim they use Toray.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
So you have like Carbon, like CRBN brand that says they use Toray, and they're manufactured out of China. 60 says they use Japanese carbon fiber, and that's where Toray is from. They don't call out Toray, but maybe it is. I don't know. But there are brands that claim they use Toray carbon fiber, and then there's brands that use T700. So just because someone's using T700 doesn't mean it's crap. It's just a type of carbon fiber. But it is possible that Proton is using a higher grade. Like there is a spectrum of quality for carbon fiber. And so it is possible that their claim of using better carbon fiber is possible.
Yeah.
But I don't like that he was like saying everyone else's carbon fiber sucked, and that because they're using T700 automatically makes it a terrible paddle. And so I didn't necessarily like his approach of how he pitched it because of, I think it's just from my history of my dad just over pitching things. And so not to discredit the claims that their paddle could potentially be more durable, but maybe for the reasons everything he said, it didn't quite resonate with, or I did some fact checking, they weren't all true. But they're definitely, I think the thing that got my attention from Proton is the fact that their pros, I asked them all how long they've been using their Series 1 paddle. So Megan Zahn uses it, Andre, they all have been using, they have like a rotation of 3 or 4 paddles that they've been using for months. And so that is kind of the evidence that I was looking for, that, okay, maybe there is something to this. Maybe this actually is a more durable paddle. It wasn't Charles convincing me. It was the fact that their pros were actually using their paddles. And that kind of speaks to, I think, the potential durability of the paddle and the spin, that their players are using these for a lot longer than others are. So that's kind of the big thing around Protons. They're pitching extended durability. They believe that the market has been trained to think of paddles as being disposable. When he went into the softball market, that was kind of his same approach. He's like, a lot of the companies making carbon fiber bats were building them so that they would degrade quicker. They had to buy new ones. And then he said he came in and made more durable bats that last a lot longer. And so he's trying to do the same thing in pickleball. And they had some good success in softball. And so they've obviously have some history working with carbon fibers and different things. So it is very possible they're using a higher grade carbon fiber, and maybe that's why their paddles cost so much more. Yeah. But if it's true that they do last longer, spin lasts longer, but they cost $280, then maybe there's some there's some value there, right? Like it'd be worth spending the extra dollars. But the big question is, okay, first I need to figure out, okay, is this really more durable? And then I need to figure out even if it is more durable, like, does the paddle play well? And so this is the paddle they sent me home with. So this is the Series A Type A. So there's a Type A, Type B. Type A, which is this one, has a polymer core. Type B has like a Nomex core. And they have 2 shapes: elongated standard. This one's the standard. It's actually a wide body technically, but they call it the standard, or the square shape. And then they have an 11 millimeter and a 15 millimeter. I just got this one in the 11. So this is the one I'm going to test. They also kind of claim a break-in period. So that says, like, when you hit it first, it gets better over time as it breaks in, gets a little more powerful, a little spinnier. And so I'm going to go run the numbers on it. I haven't hit this yet because I've been waiting to run the numbers on it. My wife gets home Tuesday after being gone for 6 weeks. Very excited for her to be back.
You don't still have the numbers from the one we ran way back when I got it one, did you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So
That was elongated 11.
Yeah, that was an elongated 11. And so I'm going to go run the numbers when my wife gets back. And then, because I've been avoiding trying to touch it because I didn't want to like get reps before I got those numbers.
Got it.
So I'm going to go get those numbers with my wife this week. And then I'll start playing with it, put some hours on it. Then I'll run the numbers in a couple of weeks, see if it's different. And then just see how it plays. Because if it does play well, you know, I get the feeling it's going to be a little more niche. It may fit like a smaller group of players. But anyways, that's their claim. That's I'm going to go. That's what I'm going to try to figure out with that. But anyways, that's my thing on Proton.
All right. So I got the same spiel from him way back when. The same thing about the carbon. And again, I'm not a really big fan of like putting down other brands to bring you up. Because if your paddle's that good, you shouldn't have to put down other brands. That's how I feel. Like if your paddle's that good, you shouldn't have to be like their carbon sucks.
Yeah, I don't think you have to use
like,
that language.
We'll be able to tell if it's really that much better.
And it's funny to me that they like this is the technology that separates them, but they don't do this on all their paddles.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why not just lean into this and put it on all your paddles? You know, maybe they're trying to make I don't know. It's funny to me that this is like their go-to. This is what makes it different.
But it's only on one model.
Why not lean into it in all your models? And I guess they're just trying to get sales with their other ones because it's more familiar.
Well, Series 2 is grip paint. And then the Series 3 is, rock
carbon fiber. But supposedly the Series 3 is using the better carbon fiber. And so if it is better carbon fiber, say it is stronger, it protects the core a little bit, kind of have that, kinetic chain of like you have, a few things that are improved that make the whole better. And so anyways, there is potential of that being more durable. And I like that idea. I like the fact that we can make more durable paddles. Like if it's possible, I feel like that's where the next innovation is going to be.
Yeah.
A lot of innovation around durability.
And speaking of durability, the one issue with that paddle though, the lifetime warranty is not on the edge guard. It is only on that surface.
Oh, so if the edge guard comes off,
they will not replace it. It's already been talked about in the Proton Discord.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah. So somebody, I guess, cracked their edge guard or something, and they were like, "Oh no, we just the surface is warranted lifetime."
Oh man, yeah, that doesn't seem right.
No, it's like the whole like Selkirk's lifetime warranty is the paddle.
The paddle,
if you break anything,
not
on
just
the
a
paddle,
portion of the paddle.
So I don't know if they've changed that since then, but that was one complaint about it.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I do know that the paddles are like they send stuff to Taiwan, they do a piece of it there, and then it's sent back to their facility in Arizona, and they do the edge guard and the grip here in the States. So they do part of it in the States.
Oh, okay.
So they do that part themselves. I guess they're not confident in it.
Is that the part that's taking so long that they haven't fulfilled so many orders?
I don't know.
Did he address that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Brian actually, so they're doing he's doing like his pitch to the crowd, and Brian at Building Pickleball, he's filming. He asked him that question. He's like, "Why haven't you fulfilled orders?"
So I asked him. He asked, "Does anybody have questions for Proton in YouTube?" And I was like, "Ask him why they're talking about launching new paddles."
Maybe that's where he got it.
Yes. Go Brian.
So he did ask him that question. That's a tough question, and it's a legit one. And he said, "I just haven't been able to keep up with demand. They under what's it called under
overpromised and under delivered."
No, just weren't expect. Well, the way he pitched it said they weren't expecting the demand they received from the paddles. They sold out pretty quick and just haven't been able to restock yet.
Got it.
So they're expecting to start shipping out and selling again early July.
Yeah, I saw. They said with the Pickleball Central partnership.
Yeah, they're doing that Pickleball Central partnership.
People should be able to get paddles starting in July without like dropping how it has been.
Yeah,
so that'll be good.
Anyways, yeah. So we're gonna go put down through the paces, but anyway, from the event, anyways, so yeah, we tested some paddles. We all, we did some content, did some interviews, did some games. So I played a game against Daescu and Rettenmeyer. So it was me and Jordan Yeager. He's
that's the
Briones reviewer.
Yeah, the Briones guy.
So he's a really good player. He's a 5.0 plus. And so I gave Travis and Daescu, you ever seen those PIKKL paddles?
Yeah.
Kind of look like trainers.
Like
the spoon, yeah. So they're smaller heads, a little harder to play with. Like they're really fun to play with, but they're a little more challenging, right? So I was like, maybe this will handicap them enough where we can get a few points.
Yeah.
And they murdered us, dude.
Oh.
They beat us 11-1.
Dang.
They beat us at it was 3 minutes.
Did you at least chirp at Travis?
So I had Travis and Daescu mic'd up. I was all four of us were mic'd up, or maybe it was just three of us. Anyways, maybe it might have just been me, Travis, and Daescu. Anyways, we're all mic'd up, and I have it. I have someone doing the edit for that.
Okay.
And so I haven't heard I haven't listened through what everyone was saying yet.
Nice.
But the video's not going to be very long.
Okay.
And the gameplay footage I did kind of rewatch because I felt horrible after. I was like, gosh, I wish I could have done more. Like, at least made it more fun. But I was like, when I watched the points, I was like, we actually put up some pressure on him. We were making him make plays. Like, Andre had this ridiculous ATP that like only he could hit. So they had to make plays to beat us. But they went on a run of like 9 or 10
real quick.
And anyway, I still think it'll be entertaining. You know, I'll just have to swallow my pride and just publish.
Upload. Yeah, that's cool.
But just kind of shows that there really is a big gap between like their level and our level. Like,
did you get to interview all of them? Or
yeah, so I interviewed Daskew, Rettenmeyer, Dazan, and then Donald Young. So do you know much about Donald Young?
Just that he's a lefty, he's an animal, and he was really good at. He was actually a doubles tennis player, right?
I mean, he did singles and doubles, but he was the #1 junior in the world when he was like 14.
Yeah,
like his like pedigree in tennis is really, really remarkable, and I don't think people would know who he is. So I got a cool interview kind of about him, his story leading up to starting pickleball, and like one of the questions I asked him, I was like, how much pickleball did you really play before you signed PPA? He's like, not much.
He's like, one weekend. No, he's progressing rapidly.
He's finally, I think, turned a corner.
Okay.
And he's starting to get a lot better.
I think maybe he's taking it a little more serious because one of the last tournaments he played in, like he looks like he's making like huge improvements. Yeah, so he's looking good. And so I think I got a cool story with him. Rettenmeyer's a good interview. He's a good, big personality. He talks well. Did you talk trash about podcasts? Like, does it suck that my podcast is better than yours?
We did talk about podcasts a little bit. So I did an interview with Dazan. So Megan Dazan, she's one of the best, female players out there. She's like a top 10 player. She's phenomenal.
Our dads went to high school together.
Oh, serious?
Yeah.
That's cool. So she was my first interview, and you always get better as the day goes on. With like interviews hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not very good at it. And so I had some questions prepared. My original like goal for these interviews was to ask them all the same questions, kind of splice them up and put it all together. But I only did that for the first two, and the last ones ended up kind of being independent. But I wanted like a fun question in there, and so I put it in a would you rather, and it was like now that I look back on it, it's like the dumbest question I could have asked. This is the would you rather. I asked Dazan because she was my first person. I had it in my questions. I said, would you rather wear the same socks for a month or the same underwear for a week? And I was like, I just felt so dumb. I was like, I probably should have asked you about your underwear. I was like, oh my gosh, Braydon.
Oh, that's money. No, that's good.
Oh, I felt
was she taken back at least? Like,
she was like, yeah, she was like, what? And it was, we talked about it afterward. And I apologized. And she was really cool about it. And like, obviously we're going to cut that out, but I was like, Braydon, like maybe that would work on like, be okay with like Travis or something. But I was like, I just had it in my questions. Like I wanted a fun question, and I was like, oh, like I felt like as soon as I said it, I was like,
you're like, I just asked her if she wants to wear the same underwear for a week.
I was like, what? I was like, oh my gosh. I still feel like an idiot about that. And anyways, I hope you guys can laugh at me for that.
That's good. That's good.
Anyway, so we did interviews. I'll work on editing those. Those will be fun. And then they did like this big thing at that night where it was like a exhibition. That's a tough word. Exhibition. Nah, that's not too hard. I can say that. Exhibition. Yeah. And anyways, a bunch of people came to their headquarters. So the whole event was at their headquarters. They had one court at their headquarters. It was actually kind of a bummer that it was just one court because it was hard to like test paddles because only 4 people could play and there was like 20 people there. So I wish we had more courts, but yeah, they had like a really cool court in their headquarters with like their logo, some offices above that could see into it. And it was a really sweet setup. Their office is dope. And anyway, so we were sitting right there, right next to the court, watching them all their pros play each other. And Klinger, CJ, dude, he was just eating up the cheering. So like the hype guys were there, we're sitting next to them. Hype guys are going nuts, and CJ's just eating it up.
Nice.
And every time he like scored a point, he would like look to the hype guys and like our bench, and we're all like freaking out for him, and he was just loving it.
That's awesome.
It was like
he's fun to watch.
He's really good. And anyways, that was probably one of the best moments of the day. Is just cheering on CJ and him just like feeding office and getting hyped. It was fun. But man, these guys are so good, and I've never been that close to like the action.
Did you guys play a tournament? Because I saw you being streamed, you and Brian. I saw you guys losing.
Yeah,
I saw the last 2 points.
We played against Walker and one of the Walker sisters.
Okay.
And then the guy from Focus Pickleball or something like that. Anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like 1st to 7. They beat us like 7-3 or something. But yeah, like the content creators played a few games, and then they did the exhibition matches with the pros. Cool. And it was pretty fun. Nice. I enjoyed that. But yeah, and then like it's always fun hanging out with the other creators, right? It's like Q, Brian were there. The hype guys, I'd never met them before. They were cool. Jaeger, was fun meeting him. Chris Cali from Not So Sorry. He's funny, dude.
Yeah, he's I talk to him on Instagram every once in a while.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
He's like, you didn't get an invite? I'm like, no, man. Co-hosts don't get invites.
He was great, and his channel's fun. Brandon is another guy. He has a website called PIKKL Heads. He does some reviews. Anyways, there's a bunch of guys there. Nice. So it's fun to network and meet everybody that's out there doing the same thing you're doing. And so I enjoyed that element of it. But yeah, I'm glad I went, and I'm going to give this thing a shot. We'll see how it plays.
Sweet.
And then we'll put together a review here in a couple of weeks.
That's exciting.
But yeah, that was Proton. Let's go over to, I know I just babbled a lot, so we'll kind of toss it over to you for some of your comments.
Oh, what drama do we got going on this week? A funny one. I don't know if you saw this, but Bread and Butter got an email. He posted it on Instagram too. He got an email with like a cease and desist, basically for well, not like a legal cease and desist. They said they would contact the FTC because their paddles claim to be designed in outer space. And in the email, they said that they've done, some investigation, and there's no like evidence that these are actually designed in outer space. And
so for those listening, like all Bread and Butter paddles have that phrase "designed in outer space" on their paddles, and that's what they were referring to.
Yeah, because like everybody puts like
designed in California,
because everything is made in China, right, essentially. So they're like designed in Southern California, designed in Italy, but they're all manufactured in China. So Bread and Butter, being Bread and Butter, puts design in outer space,
which is pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny. And Doug responds, and his response was just beautiful.
I think I read it actually.
Basically arguing that like we're in the Milky Way galaxy and Earth is like
in
how he could
space.
defend that. Yeah, that we are technically in outer space. But it was great, and he said he could have his legal team contact them. But I was just people just
hilarious.
Get worked up over. I mean, it's no different than I don't remember if you remember the Red Bull lawsuit.
No, what was that one?
So Red Bulls used to say like
Red Bull gives you wings.
Gives you wings. They got sued for that.
Did they lose?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, they lost. So we all got like a free Red Bull out of it. Like it was like a big class action lawsuit. So
maybe we're all gonna get free Bread and Butters.
Maybe we'll get free. No, because I think technically you can argue that
it's made in outer space.
Earth is made in it's in outer space. So
yeah, that makes sense.
So that was something funny that happened. Locally, there's a rumor from the security guard that's locking up one of the courts. So they lock up these local courts every night at 7 p.m. A guard shows up and puts a lock on these courts now.
What courts are they?
Manitou.
Oh, this is the same one that you were talking about
like
a few weeks ago.
6 episodes ago. Yeah. So the drama continues. You can't play pickleball Sunday and Monday, and it closes at 7 p.m. And they have a guard show up, like a security guard, and actually physically put locks on the gates.
Oh my gosh.
He like feels terrible about it too. Like I guess he actually like does not like doing it. And he's just like, it's my job. I have to do it. And I'm not supposed to talk to you guys if you ask me questions.
Just in and out.
Yeah.
So there's people that so he has to like boot him out.
Yeah.
And then lock it
so
up.
If there's people there, he's like, you gotta get off the courts, and he's gotta lock the courts.
That'd be a terrible job.
Yeah. So he has to be the bad guy, and he doesn't want to be the bad guy because we're just there playing pickleball. Anyway, so he tells us they're resurfacing the courts in, I think, next week. But he heard they're going back to all tennis courts, that they're actually removing pickleball.
Oh, so the security guard's spreading this rumor that they're going to switch him back to tennis
courts? But he
courts?
doesn't play pickleball, so I don't know why it would. I don't think it's it'd be a weird rumor for a security guard to like spread.
Yeah, why would he know?
Because he has no stake in tennis or pickleball.
So there are 2 tennis courts at Manitou.
Yes,
have you ever seen those being used?
No, because we painted lines so we can bring a net. Nobody plays tennis there. The courts are destroyed.
But the city might be switching them, take away the tennis courts.
Well, they're talking about taking away the pickleball courts and then go into like resurface
for
tennis courts. So you could fit 4 full tennis courts there if you wanted to.
Is everyone's not can't be happy about that.
Well, a lot of people don't. I don't think a lot of people know about it yet.
We don't know if that's true either.
I don't know if it's true. We'll find out this week.
If it is, it seems like a really silly move. It would just, the only reason it makes sense they would do that is just because of the noise complaints.
Well, that's the thing. But all those rules were put into place because of the neighbors and the noise. So if it goes back to tennis, then they don't have to worry about neighbors complaining because nobody plays tennis.
So say they do shut down pickleball there, where's everyone going to go? Like, what's the nearest option?
Outdoors, there's not really any.
It's like the only place to play there. It's pretty, that place is always bumping.
Yeah. And the courts aren't even in that good of condition. It's just like a great location.
Yeah. Yeah, there's really not any other great option around
not
there.
on that side of town. There's a couple parks that have like 2 courts, but
nothing bigger.
No. So I'm pretty bummed about that because that's where I actually learned how to play pickleball. That's where you shot your, what was it like?
Yeah, that
was it 2-0 to 5-0 in one game?
Prank video or whatever. My attempt at
that was so funny.
I think what was it, Paul?
Paul, yeah.
Yeah, dude, Paul's such a legend. If you guys haven't seen this video, it's probably a year old now.
It's about a year old, probably.
But yeah, I went to this park Manitou, wearing like some slides or something, and just
pretended not to know how to play.
And then I meet up this guy named Paul.
Gives you a paddle.
He gives me a paddle. I mic him up. He's like coaching me as we play. And it's like, it was really great. Like, it was very endearing to like Paul. There's a lot of Paul type people out there. And it was pretty funny.
I think it's a great, honestly, that video to me is like a great representation of the community of pickleball.
Yeah.
Like I actually it was supposed to be funny and it ended up being kind of heartwarming.
Yeah.
Like how nice this guy was.
I know, that's what it was. I'll have to drop a link to it because Paul was so great. Yeah. I think that captures it well. Like he embodies what pickleball is and why people are attracted to it.
No, and they were like, all of us when we started, somebody was like that to us. So it's super cool. But yeah, so I really don't want to see that park go away because that park kind of holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, but it's a big part of the community here. Like it's popular. A lot of people play there.
Yeah.
That'd be really sad if they did that.
It will. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated. And then the big news, which people have reached out to me saying that it's not the full news, is $100,000 a year from the brands to the UPA fee plus $5,000 per paddle.
Yeah, let's break that down.
So, but somebody reached out to me and said it's actually going to be a tiered system, but there hasn't been an official statement. So again, I feel like it's
so to back it up for those listening who may not have been following the news for this one. So there was a rumor earlier in the week that UPA, which is the new governing body for PPA, was going to come out with these, what do you call them, fees?
Yeah. Because they came out. So UPA came out with their own division, UPA-A,
right,
to do equipment standards and to take over kind of the paddle testing and the paddle certification for the pro world.
With USAP, it costs
$1,500.
$1,500 to get your paddle tested. You send it probably ends up being
like
around
$300 per colorway or something like that.
Ends up being like $3,000 to $5,000 probably. So UPA was changing it up, saying it was rumored that they were going to charge $100,000 a year for your paddles
just for a membership, just for a fee,
just for like a membership fee
plus $5,000
to get your paddles tested and whatnot. That was, and then so that news kind of leaked. And then UPA said, "Whoa, hold on. There's more to the story, right?"
Well, he said Jason actually got on there and was like, "This is an announcement I will make, and I haven't made it. This isn't the right information." But they also didn't totally
deny it,
didn't fully deny it either. So I think that number was almost put out there to see what, almost like fishing, how's everybody gonna act, and because the internet kind of set on fire,
Yeah, I mean that's a huge sum of money. That, I mean, obviously it sounds like they're gonna increase the prices somewhat.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I do think the barrier for entry is almost too low, and we've talked about it. You can start up a paddle company in your garage with basically no money. If you have no intention of being a legit brand, just to make money overnight and disappear, you can try that. So the barrier, if you increase the barrier for entry, we should get more quality paddles. $100,000 is crazy though.
Yeah, that seems like a lot.
Yeah,
I wish I were on the numbers, but to make $100,000 in profit to pay for that, how many paddles would you have to sell?
Oh, was it one of the brand owners in Discord did it? I think he said he had to sell. Did he say 500 paddles? He actually said it wasn't that big of a deal.
Oh, he's on
So what's funny is there was different brand owners. Some of them were kind of for it, and some were totally against it. One of the brand owners was saying this is kind of just the maturing of the sport and whatnot, and the other guy was like, well, how's this mature the sport? It's just putting money in their pockets. Like, which I'm torn. I do think the barrier for entry is too low, but I do think 100K is crazy.
Yeah, it's always tough to put that kind of money in perspective as an individual, because like when I look at my own bank account, I'm like, oh, that would be devastating,
Yeah.
right? But when you look at like a business bank account, 100,000 to be in the market, you know, you sell 500 paddles, like to a lot of these brands, it probably doesn't, like it's not material, right?
No.
And so like the Selkirks, the Yolas, the Gearboxes, the Engages of the world who can, you know, that probably isn't going to hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
They like it because then that takes out a lot of their competition. They're probably going to increase sales because of 100%. This. Then you have these smaller brands where like even the medium-sized brands, I don't know, that 100,000 maybe isn't that big of a deal. But it's the newcomers, it's the smaller ones that are trying to just getting started. I feel like that is a crush.
Well, then that's some of the argument though, is that $100,000. Like, what is the ROI on that? Like, is it actually worth it to pay that when you're not like for some of these brands that don't chase the like, I got a bunch of pros. Like, because not every brand has pros playing their paddles in the PPA.
Yeah. So as part of, at least as part of the what was said for this 100,000, if you don't pay that 100,000, can your paddles still be used in PPA tournaments? Just not at the pro level.
They didn't. That wasn't clarified. So that's still a question too. But I feel like it can't be.
Yeah, it's tough to talk about it and speculate what's going to happen. But it does sound like they're going to increase prices somewhere. And you know, we said it. A ton of other people said it. UPA-A is out to make money. This is a money grab. Like PPA, like that's their goal. Like they're not shy about it. So like, this doesn't surprise me at all.
And then Pickleball Labs is going to be their testing.
They're testing. Yeah. And so it's, we're all joking. We're like, this UPA-A thing probably isn't healthy for the sport because it's not to benefit the sport. It's for them to make money. And that's what they're only like confirming that thought process.
And I do think going this direction will do kind of like what Babble was talking, like how we see very few brands in tennis. If the fee is high enough, we're going to see very few brands at the pro level. We already see very few brands on the podium. I forgot. So one of the content creators did like the percent. It might have been Rafa. Did the percentages. Pickleball Tech Dude. Of who is on the podium with the big name brands, and it's like 97% or something like that. So like,
oh, funny. So everyone
of the guys that's on the board.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Like all the high end or all the top players are sponsored by the bigger brands because they can afford it.
Selkirk, Engage, whatnot. Like they make up 97% of the podium anyway.
Yeah. I think the biggest question for me is when they do come out with this rule is like, how's it going to affect amateur play? So maybe that 100,000 allows your paddles to be used in the pro scene, but is that going to affect your paddles being used in amateur tournaments? Because if that's the case, where it doesn't, like if I don't pay that 100,000, if my paddles can still be used at the amateur level, then I don't care.
No, exactly. So that's what I mean. They need to hurry up, but it's the same thing with like you said. Like we need transparency. It needs to be. We shouldn't be getting leaks. Like just come out with the information quicker, or like so we don't have to speculate.
Yeah, they got to protect that info.
Because they got a bunch of either protect your info or let it be known.
Because that information you shared was actually published on the Dink.
No, on the Dink. Yeah,
I think they took it down.
Okay, yeah, but I'm saying I shared it from a published post.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't like I made something up.
Right.
From like a backdoor conversation or anything. It was like
you sent me or I saw that on your Instagram, like the post you made of like the screenshot of that Dink article. I tried to find the Dink article and I couldn't find it, so I wonder if they took it down.
Okay.
Anyways,
I'm quick on screenshots.
Still, this might go away.
No, exactly. If I think it's going away, it's getting screenshotted.
Yeah, you got a good knack for that. You've gotten a few of those.
I know.
But yeah, a lot of questions there. That one's interesting. All right. We'll finish off here with just some thoughts for paddle, babble, and gear. So one is I just finished, or I published a review for the J2K, the Honolulu J2K, about a week ago now. I'm a big fan of it. I plan on using it in Newport next week.
Ooh, oh, that's next week. Yeah.
And so that'll be, I guess, that's July 4th. So I guess it's like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
But that's the paddle I think I'm going to play with.
Nice.
I'm liking it. It's playing well. Have you spent any time with it yet?
Lots of time with it.
What do you think?
I love it.
You like it too?
It's a good paddle. I think it's all the praise it's getting is good praise. The only negative comments are the people that don't like that there's a tiny Bible verse at the top. But like,
Yeah.
I'm indifferent to that.
There's a lot of comments.
So many comments about that, and I'm like, if that's what you care about your pickleball paddle, then I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. There's plenty of other options. Like,
yeah, it's funny that draws a lot of eyes. But so this is the question I had around the JTK. I wanted to talk with you. Like, is it possible to have too high of a twist weight? So here's my argument for this. I've with tennis rackets, if you have a super high twist weight, yes, that means improved stability, but it also means that the racket is slower and less maneuverable, regardless of what the swing weight is. So say you have a swing weight, I don't actually know what tennis swing weights are, but we'll just say 120. If you have two paddles that are 120, one has a higher twist weight, one has a lower twist weight. The one with a higher twist weight is going to be less maneuverable than one with the lower twist weight. And I thought I never really noticed that as like a factor with pickleball. I just was like, okay, higher the twist weight, the better, because more stability. And so the JTK is a hybrid with an extremely high twist weight. It's above 7. You don't see, the only paddles I've ever seen above 7 are standard or wide body paddles, or there's like really odd cases like the Paddle Tech TKO CX had like above 7, but they had those lead
little lead beads in it. Yeah.
And so that was like that twist weight didn't indicate of how stable that paddle really was. But in this case, the JTK, it's above 7 and it does play very stable. Like it's, in my opinion, the most forgiving hybrid shape paddle I've played so far. And it feels like a standard with like its level of forgiveness. But it still has a lower swing weight around 114, 115. But when I was playing with it, one of the things I noticed is that when I'm like, I have a nice little backhand flick I like to do, right? I could not accelerate through the ball as quickly with the JTK off my backhand flicks as I could with other paddles that have the same twist weight. So right after I finished the JTK review, I started playing with the PIKKL Vantage Pro and Hurricanes. And so their Vantage Pro is a square top hybrid length paddle, has a very similar twist weight of 115 as the JTK, but I can just, it feels and moves so much easier, not so much, but you can tell that it moves easier than the JTK, and I can just flick through and accelerate through like much easier with those wrist movements. And I was like, the only thing I could think of why that is like the twist weight and maybe the static weight a little bit, because the Vantage Pro is like an 8 ounce and the JTK is like 8.1, 8.2, but
that's not, no.
I didn't feel like that was enough to make it feel like it was more difficult. And so can you have too high of a twist weight?
I think so. And I've read your note and I was thinking about it, and I was also thinking more so because like I do a lot of like flicks and stuff too. And I think I've had some of that same experience with certain paddles where it just like my backhand, but there is another thing to that backhand flick, but I have noticed where I can't accelerate, like whip through the ball is easy. And I do think it's when it's on a higher twist weight paddle. Also when I'm like trying to do like really quick, like minute, like angle changes, that it's just a little slower with the higher twist weight. So I do think you feel it sometimes. So I'm sure if you like try to like really beef up a paddle and make it like stupid high, that'd be interesting. Like what's the highest twist weight paddle you've ever used? Do you know?
Probably, some standard that's like 7.5.
Yeah, it'd be fun to like try that and then get something really low.
But I feel like standard paddles still are very maneuverable, and I can still accelerate through it. And I think just because they're shorter and they have lower swing weights, like really low swing weights, you can it kind of makes up for it. But like in this case where the paddle was a little longer and had the high twist weight, that's like the first time I felt like, oh man, maybe the twist weight has a negative than just purely positive. Now, obviously it's not stopping me from playing it because I still like it. I'm kind of, adjusted and it works fine. Like I don't feel like it, like I can't put away balls or use that shot anymore, but I did feel that difference there. And I was like, maybe twist weight isn't this, the higher the better in every scenario.
So are you liking have you been playing with the Vantage Pro more than the Hurricane?
Yeah. So they're very light. They're not as forgiving as other thermos, but they are more maneuverable, which is kind of the advantage of these. Like you could get really wristy. Like Gabe Tardio uses the Vantage Pro. I believe it's the 16, and he's a very wristy player, like extremely wristy, even with dinks, like everything. He's always breaking that wrist and doing stuff with it. And I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense because this paddle is very easy to do those things. It's just really light and maneuverable. I was like, oh, okay, this fits Gabe. That makes sense, but it's not. So it's very maneuverable. Like I feel like it's more maneuverable than its 115 swing weight suggested. I added some weight to true it up, and it feels really good to me there. But they are a little softer.
Okay.
Like the Hurricane Pro is that, very similar shape to the Volair Mach 2, and a lot of people say the Mach 2 feels like a pillow, and I think this feels more pillowy than the Mach 2. And I don't like the Mach 2 is not like when I think of pillow paddles, I think of like the Lux and things like that. And I don't think the Mach 2.
Everybody calls the Mach 2. Like everybody's like, is it poppier than the Mach 2? Like everybody compares it to that. Like that's the bottom of poppy.
Right. And like I don't think the Mach 2 is the bottom of poppy. And I don't, for whatever reason, it's got this reputation of being
super soft.
But when you compare them side by side, like the Hurricane is noticeably softer.
I just got the Hurricane.
Oh, have you hit him?
No, not yet.
So the 14 also plays softer than the 14 of the Mach 2. So I actually like the 14 a lot.
That's what it feels really good. Like I was like, just like the grip's super tacky, which I'm like, nobody nobody's stock grips ever that tacky.
Yeah.
And like that one's actually really tacky. I'm like, that's nice, but it's white, so it's gonna get nasty.
Yeah.
But
no one should ever do white grips.
Yeah, don't do white if it's good, especially if it's gonna be tacky.
Yeah.
It's gonna look like motor oil.
But it looks good in pictures and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's true. But yeah, I'm excited to try the 14.
Yeah, so the 14s are pretty attractive. I like those ones. And like I've been playing the Volair Mach 2 14 for a long time and really like it. And then this one plays super similar to it,
so
just a little bit softer. So it was a really easy transition. Actually, I thought it felt a little nicer, and then you weight it up and it plays well. So the 16, I thought maybe it's a little too soft. And then you have like the Apollo or the Mach 2 that give you just a little bit more than it does. But they are lighter than those. So like if that's a factor, like go for those. But no, I think there's a place for them, and they're very gritty, very spinny. My spin tests for these were right around 2000. I don't break 2000 too often, and these were breaking 2000 for me.
Like consistently too. Nice.
Yeah. So really good spin wise. Like I drilled with Billy, and he demoed one, and he was like, wow, like this thing is hitting your feet when it shouldn't.
Nice.
So like he even noticed the spin on it. But yeah, they're super spinny, a little bit softer. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do a video for that one. I'm just gonna do a write up. But yeah, that was some of my thoughts around Twistweight, and it's like, okay, maybe we need to think about that a little bit differently in certain situations, particularly with hybrid or elongated shapes. But I still like the way the JT plays with that high Twistweight.
So I'm gonna say it wrong. Is it PIKKL? PKOL?
Yeah.
Is it PIKKL?
PIKKL, I think.
Would you play like legitimately with that? Like would you play competitively?
Like that Friday thing we did, like I would be just fine with one of those.
Okay.
But if I went and played like a legit like 4-5, 5-0 tournament, I'd get beat.
Okay. Actually, I just talked to them. So I was trying to get I want to review one of them because they just look so cool.
They're really fun, dude. Like they're super whippy. You can just like snap stuff.
Okay.
And they're not like the trainer paddles are so small, so they're a little bigger than trainer paddles. They're kind of like in between a trainer and like a regular paddle. Okay. So like they're more playable than those.
Oh, that'll be fun.
And they're just really fun. The spoons.
Spoons, yeah.
Yeah, you should get them. They're sweet.
Yeah, I think they're gonna send me one. So
I don't know if I'm gonna do it if I'll do like a review because I do think they're fun.
Yeah.
But yeah,
let's just do a play video of me and you playing against each other, or we should film us playing in an event. Like the Friday thing, and we'll play with them.
Yeah, there we go. We'll just do that.
Fun.
And but yeah, no, they're definitely playable, but I do feel like it's a little bit of a handicap with the size of them, which is what I was hoping Rettenmeyer and Dayeski would experience, but it didn't seem to.
You should have gave them the Franklin sweet spot.
Yeah, that's what I should have.
Smaller. That's good. Yeah. That's good.
And then you did you put that in this bullet about the rubber bands?
Yeah. Did you know about that?
No, what was that?
So there were some people complaining that the Apollo had some vibration. Like they were feeling vibration. And Josh, the owner, straight up said, he was like, take your band off. That I guess the band, if that like a certain spot, it'll vibrate like a guitar string. Like the band they send that goes around.
Yeah, 80% of paddles have them.
So I guess if it's like in the right spot and you hit it, it'll vibrate like a guitar string. And that's what you're actually feeling.
Oh, really?
So it's actually not the paddle vibrating. You're feeling that band vibrating.
So if you have it like too high where there's like a gap in between the paddle.
Exactly. So, so that's why some people were noticing it. Some people weren't. And sure enough, they took their band off and the vibration was gone.
So are you gonna take bands off all your paddles now?
Yeah, absolutely. I never feel vibration. I don't like, not like that. Like I feel like if it was that noticeable, I would definitely.
Yeah, I didn't
take it
notice any
off.
vibrations with that paddle, but maybe I didn't have it high enough. I usually will actually take the band off
I do because I re-grip them all the time.
and just use the grip tape.
Yeah.
I used to use the grip band as the finishing tape when I wouldn't use the finishing tape on the overgrip. I would just use the band.
Okay.
But now that I'm using PE grips,
you gotta have your logo.
I gotta have my logo there, so I
that's
stopped doing
funny.
that.
Somebody. Speaking of your tape, somebody bought your copycats tungsten tape, so I gave them a. I was like, "Don't do that." I was like, "They even stole his packaging." That's how you know you made it, though.
There's been 2 brands that have come out with tungsten. So Ace Pickleball, they made one, and then just we bought one, and it's the exact same stuff, but they just went $1 cheaper.
Oh.
And then another brand came out
something
with a
precision
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like copied my old packaging.
Yeah,
not the new
stuff.
Like the measuring on the bottom was like a cardboard. So we bought one of those, and it's the same stuff too. And they're charging $5 less. And honestly, I'm not sure if they can make money at that much because I don't make much money at 25. But that's with sponsoring. I don't know how they'll sponsor, but they're
going for brand recognition first.
Maybe, but like what's funny to me with this, particularly this precision one, like to see other products they sell, it's a bunch of random crap. They have like. Some supplements, like it's just random. So it's this brand that like just looks at what's selling
trending.
well.
Oh, they're going off trends.
They go off trends, and then they just figure out where it's made and then copy it and try to sell it for cheaper. And that's actually really common on Amazon. So if you're ever shopping for something on Amazon and you see something that's cheaper than maybe the first or the main brand, if you click through that brand and you see that they're just selling a bunch of random crap, they're not like this precision athletics, whatever. Like they have nothing to do with pickleball. They have nothing to do with really anything. It's just a bunch of random stuff. Okay. And they're just like, oh, this stuff's selling. We're going to make a copy and try to sell it for cheaper.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But
they're just undercutting everybody. Yeah. It doesn't matter what the product is.
Doesn't matter what it is. And so you'll see that everywhere on Amazon. There's some tools on Amazon that let you see like who's ranking, what's selling well. And in some cases, you can even see where it's sourced from. So it's like it enables these type of companies to go in and make these copycats.
Oh, so they can even see where you're getting it.
Sometimes,
contact them.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
And so it's not necessarily difficult to do what they're doing, but anyways, we'll see what happens. It was going to happen eventually.
Yeah, I mean.
But we're going to stick with the pricing because that's I feel like is the most fair. It's like I need to make a little money from it. So
you can't be losing.
But like there's ways for us to differentiate. Like we got the new packaging, we got 2 weights now. I'm looking into doing a 1.5 gram weight. And so
big boy weight.
Yeah.
No, that'd be nice because then I can just put like small strips where like where I want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
And so we're going to have looking into that. Hopefully it doesn't get too thick. I sampled some at 2 grams, but it was too thick. And so I'm hoping this 1.5 gram might be a little better, but then it moves it up. It's like 0.5 gram, 1 gram, 1.5, and it kind of measures nice that way.
So while we're talking about your tape, somebody put out a PSA on the Discord not to use to be careful using your tape on the Engage Pro 1's like glossy edge guard.
It sticks a little better.
Yeah, they said it sticks like insane.
It's really weird. I didn't actually notice that too. That glossy one, when you pull it off, it's just those glossy edge guards.
He was just saying the glossy one, but he said it like it's stuck.
I noticed that too. So you had to it's a pain in the butt to get the residue off. I don't know if it's like that with other stuff, but
I'm sure it's not just your tape that does that.
Yeah, but then when you do it on like non-glossy edge guards, it just comes off and on.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
I've taken your tape off and on the same paddle like 3 times before.
Yeah,
and
so
it still sticks.
It just depends on the edge guard, which is
interesting. I guess it makes sense though, the adhesion to whatever the surface is. But
yeah,
so
yeah, the tungsten's doing great, man. I gave some of the 0.5 gram stuff to Travis while at the Proton thing, and he was really into it. So I gave it to him Monday night at the end of the deal. I just got out of my comfort zone, just went and talked to him and just kind of pitched it and just handed it to everyone. But I gave it to like 5 or 6 of them. Travis really liked it, and he wanted more. So I sent him a handful of the 0.5 gram. He was into it. So that was cool.
Out of your comfort zone, are you nervous to talk to these guys?
Dude,
we need to go together because I don't care. I'll just walk right up to them.
Dude, I've gotten better over the last year or 2, but I'm not a super social person.
Okay.
And like, especially in big groups, it's hard for me to like go talk to people and make friends. And so I made a conscious effort this event, like, okay, don't just hang out with John Q. He's the man, love the guy, but I need I need to
branch out.
I need to branch out.
Spread my wings.
So I made it a conscious effort to try to talk to as many people as I could. And I think I did good for Braydon at least.
Several people told me, they're like, man, Braydon's like the nicest guy. Like Chris was like, Braydon's such a nice guy.
Good. I'm glad
you liked him because I'm not a nice guy.
But anyways, it was fun. It was good for me to do stuff like that. I don't know.
Nice.
I don't know I'm that way, but I am.
All right, this week we got any new paddles coming?
Dude, I have
anything on
I
the radar?
don't have anything coming. Well, I got the Pro XRs.
Oh, the
coming.
Okay.
The new Pro XRs. I got their sweet spot one today, and then I'm getting their elongated one later.
Okay.
I think that. Oh, and then I'm also doing some. I'm starting to test some budget paddles. I'm going to do. So I have my hot list page.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I have my power all court control. I'm going to add a like the best budget paddle section to that.
I like that.
So I'm going to start testing some more budget friendly paddles. So Friday's going to send me their paddles.
Oh, cool. I've actually heard decent things.
Yeah, me too.
About Friday, and I've heard that if you cut it open, it's actually not what you think it would be.
It's something different.
It's actually different than just like a totally standard paddle.
Huh. We'll have to cut it open.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try those out. Hudef has a couple of $100 paddles I'm trying.
Okay.
They have like their Mage Pro.
Is that going to be your like line, like $100 or under?
I don't know. I need to kind of figure that out. I'm thinking around 125 or less.
I was going to say 120 would probably.
But if I can find a handful of paddles that are really good around 100, maybe
that'd be fun.
Anyways, so I'm gonna start hitting a bunch of those and start kind of saying, okay, these are my favorite budget-friendly paddles.
I like that. People are always looking for their best bang for the buck.
Yeah, and there's some really good 100. Like obviously the Vatic Pro Prism has been a great paddle for over a year now, and it's only $100. So they're definitely out there. I don't know. What about you? What are you testing this week?
So I got some body helixes coming in.
Oh, they're gold weave one?
The gold one's not coming in yet. He sent me the X2 and the X3.
Oh, they're Kevlars?
Yeah. And then the Gherkins are going to... Have you heard of Gherkin?
I think you messaged me about them. I hadn't really heard of them.
Well, somebody brought them up in the Discord, and I'm childish, so I was just like laughing at the name. Didn't even look at their branding. So like I was like, oh, Gherkin. I'm like, they're totally just trying to be funny. So I sent them an email, and like, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm childish. I saw you in Discord, and I just can't help but think about jerking your gherkin. If you want me to try one of your paddles, I would love to. If not, I am who I am. Nice to meet you, whatever. And like,
I said it. I don't take it.
No, but
ashamed.
But then afterwards, I went and looked at their branding. I'm like, oh, they're kind of like a serious brand. They're not like, I thought they were maybe joking with the name. So I'm like, oh man, this guy's gonna be like mad that I sent him an email like this, and he responded back like with a hilarious response too.
Oh,
he's like,
cool.
I'd love to send you a paddle as long as you jerk our gherkin all over the people and film it or something like that. And I was like, okay. I was like, this brand's pretty cool. Then.
That's pretty
like,
good.
At least, and that's my thing. I always I resonate with like brand owners that are like fun.
Yeah.
Like don't take themselves too seriously. So he's gonna send me his paddles. Some guy in Discord was giving him like tons of love, saying like it's one of the best paddles he's used. I'd never heard of them. They're out of Southern California.
I looked him up after you. Like I think you sent me a text about him. And so Rafa had done a review on the Gherkins.
No, and I talked to him. He said they were good.
That's the only thing. I think that's the only like review I've seen of this.
So out of Southern Cali, they're working on some more paddles. That they don't know if they're going to come to market yet. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. But yeah, those are coming. So.
The 6-0's dropping there. Black Diamond 14 and Ruby 14. So when I was in Dallas hanging out with Dale and them, I wasn't around when he was handing out paddles. Mm-hmm. I was playing singles, so I missed when he was doing that. So I guess I was supposed to go home with a Ruby 14 and a Black Diamond 14, but I didn't.
You got nothing.
I got nothing from it, and but everyone else got them. So I asked Dale if I could get them, and so he sent me the Ruby 14, which I got in the mail today, but they messed up. It was actually a 16.
Oh no!
So I don't have the Ruby 14 yet, and they didn't send me the Black Diamond 14. But I'm pawning it off of Brian. He got one from Texas, so he's sending me his.
Oh, good. That's good. Sharing paddles.
I'm fighting for these 6-0 paddles here.
Paddles.
But yeah, I know a lot of people will be asking questions about those. I think that comes out.
There's been a bunch of people in the Discord already being like, who's hit the 14 Ruby? Who's coming out with the review first?
That'll be available when this podcast publishes on the 25th.
Oh, nice.
So I'll get some thoughts on it when I have
when it
it
gets here. Nice. Yeah, I think that's it for paddles that are coming.
Yeah, so paddles. Let's get together Friday, dude. I got so many paddles I want to test. The Thompsons were approved. I want to try those.
Okay. Have you tried yours at all?
No.
Oh man, that handle.
I put an overgrip on it and it feels better.
Better
But
with the hand. Okay.
it's definitely gonna need like a Hesicor or something.
Yeah, I got a Hesicor on it. I need to try it again. We should try them together now that I have a Hesicor
Yeah,
on it.
we'll try some paddles Friday.
So,
but yeah, there we go. That's
sweet.
episode 42. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Have a great day.